Okay, I believe that I'm live now. Sorry, guys, if I sound a little bit iffy right now. I'm feeling kind of tired. Actually, I'm also feeling kind of nauseous, but that's no big deal. Alright, and the audio is good. Not sure how long I'm going to be streaming tonight. I'm going to go as long as I possibly can. That's about the best I can promise. I'm just going to leave it on the standby until I start getting some questions. For those of you who are in the chat room right now, the 7 of you watching, if you look at the bottom of the chat, you'll see 2 little buttons. One of them is, what is that? That's emojis. God, I wish those weren't there. But the other one is Super Chat, which allows you to donate a couple of bucks, and it essentially highlights your, question. Is that Fallout 4? Actually, I think I took this screen from Fallout 3, actually. It doesn't matter. Well, there's enough people here. I'm already answering questions. Let's go right to the main stream itself. Let's go right to Shootin The Shit with Emer. Audrey asks, how have I been doing? Well, I guess it's time for a little bit of an update, a little bit of a health update, because I know a lot of people are always asking, they're always curious what's been going on. And here's the latest. I had to go to a seminar of sorts for gastric bypass surgery. You have to take the seminar before the clinic will even consider you. So I went to that seminar, learned a lot about gastric bypass that I had no idea about, as well as some of the other options for bariatric surgery. Unfortunately, the following day when I called to schedule my follow-up, where I'd actually go into the clinic, because the seminar was actually a streamed seminar, everything was set up. I thought everything was golden, and then they called me later, and they told me that my insurance will not cover bariatric surgery, therefore, unless I have $20,000 to hand, I cannot get the surgery. So unfortunately, that avenue for weight loss is completely gone to me, because obviously I don't have $20,000. And as much as I've asked you guys to pledge and donate recently for, personal needs and all that, because I'm not at work right now because of this fucking hernia and the weight loss and all that, I feel kind of guilty enough asking you guys for $2,400. By the way, that is the goal on the Patreon page. If you want to give over there, please, by all means. I feel guilty enough asking about that. I sure as shit am not going to ask you guys for $20,000. That's just not going to happen. Patrick says, Emer, please help me. My cousin dragged me to the Emoji Movie, and now I want to die. Well, dude, you obviously didn't really put up a whole lot of a fight if you went anyway. You could have looked at him and said, no, I'm not going to see that stupid-looking thing. Fuck you, and just walked away. Just saying, dude, like, you could have been blunt and just not gone, but that's just me. So, Zach says, your take on the whole Angry Joe thing. What was it? His fans getting pissy about him doing movie reviews and the same amount of game reviews he's always done. Rage when he should... Okay, so apparently, I really don't follow Angry fucking Joe. So, from what I've been told, what happened was Angry Joe disabled... What was it? Just fucking comments, or just... So, what exactly did Angry Joe disable? Was it just comments? Or was it comments and ratings? Or, I mean, I know for a fact that he, disabled a whole bunch of shit. I know for a fact that he disabled comments. I know that much. He struck down comments because apparently the comment sections of his videos were getting toxic or some other such stupid, whingy horse shit. Frankly, my thoughts on that is pretty simple. Whatever the hell Joe wants to do is Joe's choice, and as stupid as I may think it is, I personally am not going to, say that he's wrong. Comments and ratings. Okay, so he shut them both down. Alright. Well, see, I really don't I really don't care either way, but then again, that's also because I don't watch his stuff. And even then, the channels that I do watch, I leave comments very, very rarely. So there's something just I just think about the whole disabling comments thing, and I just can't bring myself to care. I think that's my personal thought on it. So as much as much as people want to make a big deal about what Angry Joe is doing, really, when exactly was Joe last seriously relevant? Because I think I've watched, all told, maybe 3 of his videos lifetime, and most of those were from years ago. So I don't even know what the hell he's doing today. I don't know, and to be quite honest, I really don't care. So what do we got here? You interested in playing retro games? They have a retro game called Heroes Realm, a free version and a newer version they're going to release soon. Okay, that's kind of like there's like a question, a statement, like a bunch of other crap, all like lumped into one. I do greatly enjoy retro games. Here is the thing. When I say that I enjoy retro games, I mean I enjoy games that are actually retro. I like going back and playing old fucking NES and SNES and Genesis games. I love playing those. And I don't mind games that utilize pixel art, but I'm not going to seek them out. I'm not going to treat them like they're something ultra special. I refuse to refer to them as retro games. They're wannabe retro, and that to me is, kind of, lame. Okay, alright, correction. I totally understand. If it's like a smaller, studio, you don't really have a whole lot of cash to throw, and I'm not asking for high-end graphics. And if you want to make your game with 16-bit graphics, awesome. That's fantastic. The thing about that is, I don't care if your graphics are 8-bit or 16-bit, or if they're fully recognized polygonal shit that you need a Intel Core i7 processor to run. I don't care. Just, honestly, as long as the game is fun. And just looking friggin' retro is not enough to really define it as good, if that makes any sense. Once more, for those curious, on the chat, you might notice underneath the text box where you can type, you might see 2 buttons. One of those I really wish I could strike out of there, because, frankly, I personally believe that emojis are complete shit. But the other one is the Super Chat option. Super Chat basically highlights your question, pretty much guarantees that I'll see it amongst the sea of other questions. So you just have to donate a little something, or whatever the hell, I don't really know what the minimum is. It's probably like minimum like $1 or something. And that also helps with me, because, as many of you know, I am having some cash issues. If you want to pledge something a little bit bigger, I do have Patreon and GoFundMe links down in the video's description. By all means, check out those. What else we got here for questions? Worst ending to a favorite anime series you've seen? Let me think. There are so many instances, I think, of just really shit endings to pretty decent friggin' anime. For instance, I had a lot of fun watching Panty and fucking Stalking, but that ending, and when I say the ending, I'm talking about the post-fucking credit sequence, which set up for a second season. It was so fucking dumb, and it actually kind of ruined the whole thing for me. It was a fantastic series. Granted, like, the first episode kind of sucked, but, it slowly kind of sort of grew on you. And then you get to the very end, and then they slap you with this lame-ass twist, and it was pretty awful. In fact, I could also say anything that essentially ends on a sequel hook that they never capitalize on. Like, I happen to remember that when Hellsing first came on, and it was the 13-episode television show. where the like second half of the series is basically cut from whole cloth because they didn't have the comic to work with. That ended with a sequel hook that kind of hinted that there would be a second season. And they never did a second season. And Berserk set up for a second season, and they never did. And then when they did the movies, what do you know? Hoop-de-doo, it's the same fucking arc, and now they're finally doing stuff beyond the Band of the Hawk, which is at least good, but I have heard that the series now kind of sucks. But hey, I don't know. Let's see. Emer, did you ever watch Card Captor Sakura back in the day? No. It also was just called Card Captors back then. At least that was the English dub name. Never watched it though. Would you consider watching the latest season of Red Dwarf, the 12th season? Now this here is from Stefano. I'm sorry, dude, if I'm butchering the name. When it hits U.S. airwaves. Probably. You see, now, right here, guys, is, like, kind of the thing. Is, as much as I enjoy Red fucking Dwarf, I know for a fact that I haven't seen a whole lot of it. Like, I know I've seen all of the first series. Season, it varies from place to place. In England, they call them series. Over here, we call them seasons. So I'm just going to stick with the U.S. terminology, because it's what I'm used to. I've seen all of the first season, because I actually got the first season DVD at a yard sale for like $3. I've seen maybe about 15 episodes beyond that. I know for a fact I haven't seen anything from the last like 4 or 5 seasons. So if I could find a way to catch up, which I could probably just jump on YouTube, they probably have every episode, someone's probably uploaded every episode onto YouTube, I can catch up that way. Then I'll probably catch the 12th season, as long as I know when the hell it airs, because I believe that Red Dwarf usually runs on PBS when it runs over here, and they are almost never consistent with when the fuck the damn thing airs. Like, a little bit of a story here, guys, about PBS. Those of you who don't live in the U.S., PBS is our public television network. It's basically a crowd-funded channel, and a lot of their programming is stuff from the UK. So you get stuff like Red Dwarf and Sherlock and Doctor Who, and all of that has aired on PBS at one point or another. Now, it used to be that Saturday nights, at least over here with our local PBS station, Saturday nights were the night to watch British comedies. So I would get to watch Blackadder and Red Dwarf and the thin fucking blue line and My Hero and all these other shows that you would never have heard of, that you wouldn't see any other place. And Red Dwarf was one of those ones that it would show up very sporadically. So, like, you would be able to watch it for maybe like a month, and then they would swap it out for Mr. Bean. And then they would run Mr. Bean for like 2 months, 3 months. And then they'd bring back like, what the fuck was the name of that one Irish show? It was Ballykiss Angel. They would bring that shit back. Oh god, I hated Ballykiss Angel. I loved it though when they were running like Father Ted, because I always believe that Father Ted's a fucking hilarious show. Anyway, I think I've talked about British fucking television and PBS scheduling a little bit too long. The Lou 2 asks, "Yo Emer, are you doing good?" Actually, to be totally honest with you, right now I'm actually feeling kind of sore. I'm feeling kind of tired. I'm feeling actually a little bit fucking nauseous. I actually mentioned that at the very start of the stream when there was maybe like three people in here. But I just sort of want to clarify that I will stream as long as I possibly can. Speaking of streaming, I guess it's time for me to announce something. Let me open up another tab on my browser here. Because I put up a poll. I put it up on Twitter, and the Facebook page, and in my Discord server, giving you guys the opportunity to vote for what game I was going to stream tomorrow night. And I gave you guys 5 options. And I'm going to announce right now that I'm not counting any more votes from this point forward. I'm going to look at the results right now. And the results are pretty much unchanged from the last time I looked. Actually, about five more votes came in, but really didn't alter much. The winner for tomorrow's stream is Resident Evil 7. So I get to finally start up Resident Evil 7, get to see if that's any good. Second place, a tie for second place, actually, on the poll, was Fibbage. I was totally down to play some Fibbage with you guys. And Oddworld it was new and tasty. Third place, well, I guess fourth place is Life is Strange. That pulled in 9 votes. And last place, the one I actually was kind of gunning for personally, was Blues and Bullets. In fact, one of those 2 votes was mine, because even I vote on my own polls, because I'm that much of a sad fuck. Anyway, let's see, what else we got in here? Let me scroll up a little bit. PBS is pretty good with airing decent children's programming. I honestly wouldn't know, because it's been it's probably been at least 25 years since I last watched PBS Kids show. So when I used to watch, like, they used to run stuff like, well, they used to run like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, what the fuck were some of the other shows? Story Lords was one that aired over here. Story Lords was actually produced, was that one produced at UW-Madison, or was that at UW-Stevens Point? It was actually produced at one of the University of Wisconsin campuses. I actually found myself going back and I actually looked on YouTube. I found a few old episodes of Story Lords from PBS. And oh my god, is that show ever cheesy. But it's actually kind of sort of lovable because it's so damn cheesy. Anyway, so I don't know what the hell they run anymore, because I think Sesame Street's now running on HBO, which still sounds wrong no matter how many times I say it. Alright, so what else we got here for questions? Why don't I scroll down a touch? You didn't know that Resident Evil was still, going, you stopped after 4? Well, dude, like, to be honest, Resident Evil has gone a long-ass time, because we've got the 7 numbered entries, then we have, oh god, what the fuck were some of the other ones? Resident Evil Dead Aim, which was a light gun game, was actually kind of fun. We had Resident Evil Code fucking Veronica, and then there was like a slightly spruced up remake of that, which was called Code Veronica X. At least I believe that was supposed to be like a remake. What the fuck were the names of the ones, what the fuck was the name of the one on the DS? Resident Evil Revelations, and then there was the sequel to that. Like, the series has been going on for a long fucking time. So let's see. Oh, Sesame Street is still on PBS. All right, cool. Umbrella Chronicles, which was yet another light gun game. That one was released on the Wii. And didn't they have a sequel to that called Dark Side Chronicles or some such shit? Okay, so we have one here. Zelda Ed123 asks, with the news of a live-action American-made One Piece show, how bad do you think it's gonna suck? Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a fan of One Piece in the first place, so I already have my sights set incredibly low on that one. I am not expecting an American-made. I'm not expecting any One Piece remake to set the fucking world on fire. However, there is a possibility that an American-made One Piece show might actually work out. The reason being, because a lot of people apparently bitched when Cartoon Network pulled One Piece off the fucking Toonami lineup. I don't know why. Just fucking play along, people. People honestly will bitch about the dumbest shit. But the reason why One Piece never really took off amongst weeaboos is because it's a very Western-influenced show. As much, honestly, as you want to say that it's like a, like pinnacle of, anime greatness, yada, 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 it's not very often that you find a frickin' Japanese show which is based on piracy. That right there is something that is far, far more a Western culture thing, which is probably why it kind of stuck out like a sore thumb on Toonami, where everything else is all mechs and ninjas and Super Saiyan Pink and other such faggoty bullshit, and then you've got pirates. It just seems to stick out. So that right there is the thing. Is I think maybe if you put the franchise in the hands of a Western of a Western company, it might actually turn out okay. I don't know. I honestly don't. And I'm really not planning on watching it anyway, just because I'm already kind of biased against One Piece. So, of course, I'm also biased against other shows, and that doesn't stop me from scheduling those movies for reaction and review. Hint, hint, as to what the next one is when I finally get around to shooting it. Let's see. Let me scroll back up a little bit. Alright. Oh, and I mentioned that PBS show, Story Lords, and how it's kind of lovable today because it's so fucking cheesy. Speaking of cheesy children's shows, I actually found myself, I was bored today. I was searching on YouTube and watched a show I haven't watched in a long goddamn time. Anyone here remember a show from the 80s called Mask? Mask was, for those of you who don't know, Mask was essentially like what happens if G.I. Joe and Transformers like merged. So you've got your you got your team of special soldiers, similar to G.I. Joe, but they all have vehicles that transform into other vehicles. It's actually kind of sort of creative. If you guys are curious, the whole thing was actually meant to tie in a toy line. I know that Ashens made a video that ran like 25 minutes or something. Where he looks at a bunch of the toys. Well, anyway, found myself watching the show. Watched the first 5 episodes today. And oh my god, is it ever corny. I'm still trying to figure out the point of the main villain's vehicle. Miles fucking Mayhem's vehicle is called Switchblade. It's a fighter jet. You think that Robot Chicken has made fun of it? Oh yeah, they have a couple of times. So Switchblade is a fighter jet that turns into a helicopter. I don't know what the purpose would be. Well, actually, no. At first, I mean, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I guess it'd be easier to take off with a helicopter than it would be with a fighter jet. And then the fighter jet is far more fucking maneuverable. So, kind of works out like that. So, do I watch any stop motion films? I have seen quite a few, yes. I mean, I know for a fact I covered Corpse Bride for reaction and review. I've watched The Nightmare Before Christmas numerous times. Of course, when I was a kid around Christmas, you'd see all of the Rankin Bass stop fucking motion shit around Christmas. So you'd see like Rudolph and Santa Claus is coming to town and all of that. So there's all of that shit, and that's fine. I'm actually trying to think of what other stop motion films I've seen. I do know for a fact I've seen quite a few. It's just I can't name them right off the top of my head. Let's see. Robot Chicken has made fun of everything under the boiling sun. Indeed, yes, they have, and the show is still fantastic, no matter how long it goes. When the Wind Blows, yes, when the wind blows, it did have some stop and motion in there, and that still just blows my fucking mind, just how beautiful that movie looked. Was the Live Freaky Die... Oh, God, Live Freaky, Die Freaky. I totally forgot about that goddamn thing. Holy shit. Are there some movies you used to dislike, but now enjoy? Ooh. Give me a moment. I actually have to kind of think about that for a sec. Are there any movies I used to dislike, but I now enjoy? I'm really pondering this one, because I'm almost certain that there has to be at least a couple of fucking instances. Well, okay, I used to hate the shit out of Star Trek 3. I just found it to be a really boring movie, and even though it doesn't rank up amongst my all-time favorite Trek films, at least that one was pretty decent. I mean, I can now look at it today, and I see it in a slightly brighter light than I did, say, 25 years ago. So there is that. Is American History X eligible for reaction and review? No, it most certainly is not. I have seen that film about 15 times now. Love it. It's a fantastic film. So, trying to think if there's any other movies I used to dislike, but now I've grown to really, really enjoy. You know, when I was really young, I didn't care for First Blood. Like, the first time I tried to watch First fucking Blood, I think I was about 7. And I did not like it. I honestly thought it was a slow-moving, just plotting film. And then I gave it another shot like a decade fucking later, and it immediately became one of my favorite dramas of all time. I think part of that's because when I was 7, I went into it thinking it's fucking Rambo. It is just going to be a bang bang shoot 'em up blood fucking bath. And I didn't get that. And then years later, I actually got to see it for what it fucking was, which is a very, very, very satisfying character study of sorts. How about vice versa? Films you liked and now dislike? Again, I kind of have to think about that one for a minute, because, again, I know for a fact that there's got to be at least a few films out there I've seen that I really liked, and then just upon watching them again... Oh, duh. When I was really young, I used to be a fan of Pauly Shore. Just don't fucking judge me, okay? I used to enjoy, like, Son-in-Law and Jury Duty and just a bunch of his other films. I used to have a bunch of them on tape. I used to enjoy them. I used to watch, like, In the Army Now quite often. Nowadays, the only Pauly Shore film I still enjoy is Biodome. The other ones have all turned to absolute shit. So, apparently someone's talking to some guy named Snowy. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Yeah, fuck you, Snowy. I'm just gonna block you for that shit. Anyway, do I still play Friday the 13th? Actually, I really haven't had a chance to play a whole lot of games lately. I spent a whole lot of time in friggin' bed. I've been just trying to rest, and I've been trying to lose weight, but I do sometimes get into a game of Friday the 13th. Not often, mind you, but of course, I also recently started getting back into Tales of Symphonia, because I got that on Steam like a long ass time ago, and hadn't touched it in ages. So I got back into that today. I played for about 45 minutes. It was pretty good. Let's see. And Mr. Tightwhite says he's asked the same question for 10 minutes now. Thank you. He's out. Maybe next time. Well, dude, Perhaps maybe if you didn't repost the same goddamn question, perhaps maybe I would have answered it. And it wasn't even a creative question either. Three horror movies stranded on a desert island. What are you bringing? God, dude. Seriously? You reposted for 10 minutes for that? Wow. Just, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, goddamn, that was really stupid. If I was a Transformer, what would my alternative form be? You know what? I've always had a favorite Transformer, and this is kind of cheating. Because my favorite is actually a triple changer. And that's Blitzwing. That goes all the way back to when I first saw Blitzwing, when I saw Transformers, the movie back in the 80s. I missed out on a whole lot of the second season. And I just saw that Blitzwing transforms into both a fighter jet and a tank. And I just thought, God damn, that is perfect. That is fucking amazing. So yeah, if I could... If I was a Transformer, I would essentially be fucking Blitzwing. I'd turn into both a jet and a tank. And in case he watches the archive of this, in case Mr. Tight White decides to watch the archive of this, if you really thought that question was so damned important, dude, you could have easily used the super chat option, and you could have donated a couple of bucks. And I would have probably seen it better. I actually never even saw it because it's buried amongst all of the other questions. When you use the super chat option, it actually highlights the questions, so that way you can't miss it. So, do I drink any V8? Actually, about a week and a half ago, I was just trying to find like something to drink besides soda. And I picked up like a shitload of like Powerade and all that, just because Powerade is pretty good. It has very, very little sugar. Gatorade is kind of the same way. It really doesn't carry a fuckload of sugar in it. But I saw they had something I hadn't had in years, which was V8 Splash, which is V8's version of fruit juice, which is, granted, ridiculously sugary, but at least it also gives you a fuckload of, like, vitamins, minerals, yada yada yada. So that was it. So that was at least good. Have there been any good stoner comedies? Well, you're actually talking to the wrong guy for that. Primarily because I am not a stoner, so I can only really give you my personal thoughts based on watching stoner films sober, and I can name two. I can name two right off the top of my head with no problem. And those are Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. That movie's amazing. And Half Baked. Half Baked is fucking hilarious. Am I into grunge music? Not really, no. Grunge is not something I really get into much. Do I like Penn and Teller? Of course I do. In fact, I actually got to see them live once. They actually were playing over here in Green Bay. It was like, oh my god, it must have been like... Holy shit, I think it was about 15, maybe 20 years ago. But I got to see Penn and Teller live, and I thought it was amazing. Isn't Friday a stoner comedy? Kind of. And Friday's also shit. What the hell is your point? Anyway, one thing from Penn and Teller, though, going back to Penn and Teller for a sec, one thing that I kind of wish that I had watched more of, and I really should just look for episodes of it, was Penn and Teller's Bullshit. And what actually first drew me to Penn and Teller Bullshit was I was at our local Blockbuster Video, and it was going out of business. So this was right around when Blockbuster was shutting down all of their fucking stores. Wait, was it in '99 when I saw Penn and Teller live? It might actually been like two. It might have been like 2003. So still, we're still going back a ways. But anyway, I walked into that Blockbuster and they were just selling shit off at the cheapest prices possible. They had this big table. Everything on it was like $3 for $5. And one of the things they had was all of season 2 of Penn and Teller bullshit, all wrapped in tape. So that counted as one purchase. So I grabbed that and like a few other things and went home, and first thing I threw in was Penn and Teller's bullshit. And I marathoned all 3 discs that day. So since then, like, the only other episode I saw, because I heard that it's not on the DVD set, it's not on the DVD set for, like, I think it's like the 5th or 6th season, was their episode on the Catholic Church. Someone had uploaded the whole thing onto Vimeo, I think it was, and I got to watch it there, and fucking amazing episode. Still, though, one of my favorites out of all the ones I've seen. So basically, the season 2 stuff and the Catholic Church episode would be the PETA episode, which actually was the first episode of season 2. Fantastic, and it made me loathe PETA even more than I did going in. So, what animated comedies do you think are superior to Rick and Morty? Almost all of them. Okay, but seriously though, if I can kind of indulge this for a moment, animated comedies that are superior to Rick and Morty. Well, I do believe that Bob's fucking Burgers is certainly wittier. Then again, anything is wittier than Rick and Morty because nothing else has to explain every fucking joke as it comes through. That's why I don't like Rick and Morty. Besides the fact that the jokes aren't funny and they telegraph a lot of the punchlines, not only are they telegraphing the punchlines, but then they have to explain the joke for every simpleton who doesn't quite get it. And that just drives me nuts. That to me is not comedy. That is just cringe. Straight up cringe. Anyway, what else we got in here for questions? Do you think King of the Hill is better than Rick and Morty? Of course. Because King of the Hill, again, was clever. It had tons of wit and charm and heart, and that's more than Rick and Morty's got. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Scrolling up a little bit, I just want to see what we've all got here. Wow, I'm not... Oh, yeah, somebody actually mentioned this, and I kind of wanted to talk about this for a sec. Because... is Scrubs a funny show? No. But anyway, there was a news story that broke recently, and someone like me, who's a big animation fan, this actually kind of hit me, kind of hard, and that was news of the passing of legendary voice actor June Foray, who has done voice work for decades. She worked on so many different shows. She's played so many different characters. She had a long and happy career. She passed away recently at the age of 99. And I would like to say right now that it was amazing to see her body of work build over so many years. And even though it is sad to hear that she's passed, at least she lived a long, happy life. That's really about the best I can say, is she lived a long, happy life. She was a fantastic actress. She will be greatly missed. Just sort of wanted to put that out. I just wanted to put that out there, just because I saw somebody mention that June would have turned 100 soon. That kind of sparked that. Okay, so... do you think Kane is actually going to win the political office he is running for? Okay, I guess I need to kind of correct this on people. Um, so so Glenn Jacobs, the guy who plays Kane on WWE TV, or I guess played. I guess now he's retired and is running for public office. He's running for mayor of I don't even know with what town he's running. I don't know what town he's running for mayor in. Uh, the question is, the question was, do I think that Glenn Jacobs Kane is going to win his bid for mayor? And from what I've heard, he's apparently incredibly bright. He is very politically minded. So I don't see any reason why he wouldn't win. In fact, honestly, I kind of hope that he wins, because I have heard that he is that he is a fantastic guy, and if he honestly has his shit together politically, then I say go for it. I certainly wish him the absolute best, and if he wins, awesome. So, anyway, what else we got here? I know somebody asked if June Foray is the one who voiced Magica Dispel in DuckTales. Yes, she was. She also was the voice of both Rocky and Natasha on Rocky and Bullwinkle. She was Granny on Looney Tunes. She had so many different roles. She was Penelope Pitstop in Wacky Races. Like, she had such a broad spectrum of work, and it was fantastic. So, have I ever watched Ultraman? Unfortunately, I've only gotten to see like one episode of one Ultraman series, and it was probably a really bad choice. You see, I remember channel surfing one Saturday morning. This is when Fox Kids was still a thing, when they used to run cartoons on, like kids shows on Saturday mornings on Fox. I was channel surfing, and I saw they were running Ultraman Tiga, which I'd never heard of. I didn't know anything about it. I watched it for about 10 minutes. It had the shittiest dub I think I've ever seen given to a live-action show. I could not finish the episode because the dub was that bad. Now, I have wanted to go back and watch older seasons of Ultraman or older episodes of Ultraman, but I just haven't had the opportunity or the time. So, unfortunately, that kind of scuppers that a little bit. Thoughts on OJ being released? Considering the crime that he was locked up for, I personally believe that he's served plenty of time, because he was sent to prison for holding two guys hostage at gunpoint because they had a bunch of his sports they had a bunch of his sports memorabilia, and he wanted it back. He spent 9 years in prison for that. And mind you, he still has to do probation, and he's got to report to his parole officer and all this other shit. So that is kind of that. OJ is going to be a free man in a couple of months, and you know what? At least he spent, at least to me, I believe that he spent enough time in prison for the crime he was jailed for. If only they could have got him on the murder charge, then he'd still be rotting in prison. Anyway, have you ever shot a revolver? No, I haven't. But I have shot a pistol. I have shot a magazine-fed pistol, and I'm actually trying to remember what type it was. It was a Ruger. It was an old German World War II Ruger pistol. It was amazing. I loved it. That thing felt so good in my hands. The only problem was that the only place where we could fire, we also had to find all of the shell casings. Otherwise, the people who owned the place would have freaked out, because the the last thing you want is to be mowing the fucking lawn and then run over a shell, casing. So even though it was fun firing it off, it sucked when all of us had to start hunting for shell casings. So let's see. In Latin America, most people only remember Fox Kids for Digimon, Metabots, and Shaman King. Wow. That's a real trio of winners you've got there, man. Digimon, Metabots, and Shaman King. Hot damn. Holy shit. Do I think that OJ was guilty? Are you talking about of the double fucking murder charge? Yes. I believe that he was guilty as sin. And I totally believe that he got off essentially more or less on technicalities because the LAPD doesn't know how to handle fucking evidence correctly. That right there is the only reason why he was set free. So. Alright. Ever watched anything from Adult Swim? Yeah, dude. Quite a few things, actually. In fact, normally I spend a lot of time watching Adult Swim at night on my days off. And since I'm on medical leave from, work, at night, I spend a lot of time watching a lot of Adult Swim. I sort of bounce between that and like three other channels. It's actually just kind of a pity that a whole lot of friggin' Adult Swim's lineup has kind of gone to shit lately, so I've been watching a little bit less. So, does Atomic Blonde look interesting to you? Nope. In no way. Alright, let's see. Can I recommend you any movies, comics, or books? By all means, dude, but I'm not really guaranteeing that I'll actually watch or read any of them. Just saying. I mean, you are totally free. You're totally free to recommend anything, but I just can't, guarantee that I would actually get around to them because I've got a stack of books over here, like a stack of comics and novels I still have to get through. So, do I prefer practical effects or CGI? Practical effects all day, every day. I don't care how good the CGI is. If I had to pick between CGI or practical effects, I would take practical effects every single time. Do I miss Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Kinda. But then again, you see, they also are still running the old episodes. I think they run them at like 3:30 now. Have I read if Stan Lee created the DC universe? Actually, I believe the title of that was actually just imagine if Stan Lee created blank. Blank being whatever the given book was. And I have read a few of those. So, and some of those were pretty good. One theme month you'd like to see on Reaction and Review is Remake Month. Your thoughts on that? I already did that last year. I think it was in November, where I did Planet of the Apes and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and God, what the fuck else did I all cover? Like, I just happen to remember that most of them were complete pig shit. RoboCop, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I did a bunch. What do I think of the new Jigsaw trailer? Looks awesome. I'm going to wait for it to come out on Blu-ray. Am I going to play any more of the Batman Telltale game? If you mean am I going to stream any more of it? No. Because I tried to stream it 3 times, and twice it crashed on me. So, that, honestly, to me, is my cue to just not touch it anymore. So, have I played Bully by Rockstar Games? I have zero interest in playing Bully. So, was Conan the Barbarian 2011 as bad as people say? I wouldn't know. I did not watch that one. I Spit on Your Grave, yeah, that there was another one. Ugh. God, man, that month was traumatizing. Do I feel a lot slimmer? Not totally. Of course, that's also because I just ate and I feel completely full. I think that's why I still feel kind of nauseous and sick, just because I should probably go lie down and digest and shit, but you know. So, let's see here. Are there any movies you are wanting to see? If you mean in theaters right now, no. There really, well, at least I should say that there's nothing in theaters right now that's going to make me jump out of bed and race to the nearest theater and buy a frickin' ticket, you know. I will totally wait until a lot of those come out on Blu-ray, and even then, Wonder Woman's probably the only one I'm going to really watch. How much weight have I lost so far? I don't know, because I don't have a scale around here. I've made it a point to not own a scale. But when I had my doctor's appointment a couple weeks ago, I had lost 25 pounds at that point. I probably lost more since then, but I can totally say that I have at least lost 25 pounds. That's awesome. How tall am I? I'm 6'1". So yeah. Ice cream or donuts? You know, ever since I started dieting, this honestly, guys, is just me just sharing a little something with you guys. First, let me say this. Emoji Movie for R&R? Never. I will never waste a second on that fucking movie, because it's not worth even thinking about, in all seriousness. Now, back to the ice cream and donuts thing. Ever since I started dieting, the very thought of snacking on anything absolutely turns my stomach. Like, honest to God, guys, I have looked at ice cream and donuts and candy bars and shit as I'm walking through, like, grocery stores and all that, and I just feel nauseous. Now, when it comes to, under normal circumstances, would I pick ice cream or donuts? I'd probably go with ice cream, in all seriousness, because donuts are fine, but I'm normally never in the mood for donuts, if that makes any sense. Could me and Random DCE ever do a collab with Reaction and Review? I think it'd be a good time for both you guys. Well, if we could both get in the same country in the same building at the same time, that would be amazing. So, you know, there is that. Who is the best Batman? Adam West. I've said that ever since I was 5, and I don't think anything is going to change that anytime soon. I conditioned myself to hate, junk food? No, dude. It just happened. Like, I was not trying to condition anything. It's just, I just look at it and I feel sick. I really don't know why. It just seems to be the thing. So, now the plus side to that, though, is I've also been turned off of things like chips and other such munchies, which is probably why I'm losing as much weight as I am, is because I'm eating smaller portions for meals, which is always good. But I've also cut out about 98% of my snacking, which is great. So there is always that. So guys, like I said, at the start of the stream and earlier, I'm really not feeling too well. Again, that's actually because I just ate and haven't had time to really digest shit. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then I'm going to kill off the stream, and I'm going to go to bed. So I'm going to actually just let a couple of questions build up here. If you guys want to guarantee that your question is seen, Super Chat is still an option. If you click on the little dollar sign at the bottom and you pledge a couple of bucks, that would always be great. Then it'll highlight the question. What did I eat? I had a sandwich from Jimmy John's. Well, I had a sandwich and a pickle from Jimmy John's. It really was not a big meal, but I don't have big meals anymore. Like, I don't eat much, and I always feel full. And Maher, I believe that's like the 5th time I've seen you post that question. Knock it off. Alright? I'm just going to let you guys know right now, if there's one thing that irritates me more than anything else, and that's when people have to repost questions. There's no need to. There is no point to repost questions. Especially when they're dull questions like best TV show. Okay, just saying, dude. Come up with something else. So, when will we have another stream? Hopefully, as I stated earlier, tomorrow night, when I'll be doing a live stream of Resident Evil 7. You guys are totally free to join me, and I'll try to answer some more questions as I play that. So, let's see what else we got in here. Have I ever thought about doing a reaction and review with a friend? No, because okay, guys, I guess this here is kind of sort of the thing. The reason why I don't do a whole lot of like collaborations, especially with stuff like reaction and review, is because I am a ridiculously controlling douchebag, and I kind of sort of have like a method with friggin' which I do things, and that method would get completely curtailed if I had to work with somebody else and I had to work around their style. That right there is the big reason why I don't get friends in to do reaction and review or any of that. Just because that's just not my thing. Would I play Horizon Zero Dawn? I've said this a few times. I'll say it again. If somebody buys a PSN code for Horizon Zero Dawn, I know you can get them at Best Buy, you can get them on the Best Buy website, you can get them at GameStop, just purchase like a digital code for it. If you send it to me, I will totally download it. I will do at least one stream of it at some point. So, I personally am not going to throw money at that game because it doesn't look fun. What was group projects in school like for me? See, I think that actually is why I've become the kind of... I think that's why I've become the kind of controlling dick that I am now when it comes to my own personal projects. Is because when I was doing group projects in school, I was almost always saddled with the laziest fuckers around who wouldn't do anything. So I was forced to do all of it. So, And then anytime that any of them would try to pipe up with something, it would be way too late in the friggin' game for me to change anything. And I would tell them that. If they honestly wanted to if they honestly wanted to give input, that means then they should have when we started the project, not 10 minutes before we're gonna, send it out there. Am I good at math? Not fucking really, no. I have always kind of struggled with math, personally. So. Do you think DC needs to take time with their films instead of shitting one out every month? Are you sure that you're talking about DC and not Marvel there, dude? Because, this year there's only been, Wonder Woman? I think Suicide Squad was last year. I'm almost certain Suicide Squad came out late last year. So this year we've only had Wonder Woman. I think we have Justice League. Is that later this year or early next year? Yeah. Meanwhile, if we count all of Marvel's output, talking not just Marvel slash Disney, but also Fox and any other rights holder, um, Marvel's fucking churning them out like fucking nuts. So, frankly, I honestly just sort of wish that we had less friggin' comic book movies in general. I want you guys to ponder this for a second. Me, guy who's a big time comic book fan, I'm getting sick of seeing all the fucking comic book movies. And I'm not just talking about the stuff from Marvel and DC. I'm talking about even all of the indie stuff and the foreign and the comics based on foreign films. Like, okay, I understand that over in France, I know that over in France, Valerian has a huge audience. It has been a cult title for years. But I don't think that making a $200 million movie out of it, when it's not really had much exposure outside of France, is really a good idea. Because you basically are throwing it out there, hoping and praying that someone somewhere just sees the ads, what few ads would show up, and just decides to go, hey, that actually looks like it might be okay. So. Oh, you think you might be talking about the DC animated movies? That is very easy possible. Alright, I'm going to answer one more question and then I'm going to head off because, again, really not feeling too well. Valerian flopped at the box office. Indeed it did. Again, guys, had a $200 million budget, which is not counting advertising and making copies of the film to actually send out to theaters. Opening weekend, $17 million. That's sad. Here we go. This one here's a perfect way to cap off this stream. Do you watch esports tournaments? Fuck no. I don't, because there's no point in watching esports. I have never seen the point in sitting down and watching people play oftentimes really shit games. I am serious, guys. I honestly think about the shit that gets churned out for esports titles. It's like, Overwatch is fun. That's really about the only one I can come up with, is that Overwatch is fun. Almost every other like esports title I can think of is complete dog shit, because it's all fucking Battlefield and Call of Duty and Street Fighter garbage. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now, probably the worst bit of esports I've seen is EVO. Because EVO is nothing but a bunch of fighting games. Fighting games are some of the most basic bullshit you can make. They are all, for the most part, identical. As long, honestly, as they actually put out a full fucking game when they first come out, unlike, Street Fighter, which came out essentially as a $60 fucking demo, and then you had to pay for everything later on. Beyond that, almost every other fighting game is ridiculously similar. Which honestly is why a fighting game has to feel special to me when I play it. It actually has to do something unique. It has to feel genuinely fun before I give a shit. Which is why I do care about Guilty Gear. I do care about Skullgirls, and then that's pretty much it. Because every other fighting game out there just feels so fucking samey. Now, anyway, guys. As much as I'd love to hang around and talk even more, I really need to get to bed. So this has certainly been a fun stream. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I hopefully will see you guys tomorrow night when I stream Resident Evil 7. And until next time, guys, take care. Peace.